Happy Saturday, 2:30 p.m. on the west side overlooking the last freestanding private residences on Central Park West. Beautiful. Really stunning buildings. Let me try to cross the street here without getting hit by anything. 86. So that's 85th Street. Let's go up a block. Walk west along 86th Street. I see Preston, Dave in Bangor, Maine, ABX Girl. Good to see everybody. If you said hello before those folks, I just hopped on, so that's the first folks I'm seeing. S. Fields to Bailey. Hey, good to see everybody. Today's walk, inspired by Dutch Maas. So Dutch Maas was on the east side waterfront because there's this news / rumor going around that the American Museum of Natural History may have dumped decades and decades ago, may have dumped woolly mammoth tusks in the East River. What inspired me was the background of his image was a beautiful sky. So we were going to the west side, the Hudson River, to chase the sunset. My goal is to get some nice sunset views with the World Trade Center. So we're on 86th Street on the upper west side of Manhattan. So we have a ways to go. So today I will be hustling. It's going to be beautiful, but we're going to hustle our feet as fast as they will go to try to get to lower Manhattan in the 4:30 range. Paul Greenwell? Westfield saying it was an epic one with Dutch. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I was running across the park to get over here, and my wife still had Dutch's stream up on the screen, and I heard he was interviewing or at least getting to chat with the guys who are part of the dives. I'll have to watch that bit on replay later. Bet that's hysterical. I did see the part where they were kind of waving back and forth. Marty's here. Good to see everybody. Happy again Saturday. I initially titled this Sunday, if you want to know how my mental health is going in my brain and sleep. It's that kind of a day. But my wife called me, said, I don't think it's Sunday. All right, I'll go edit it. So again, we are crossing 86th Street from Central Park. We're now just about to cross Columbus Avenue. We are working our way over to the waterfront, where we are going to walk as fast as our legs will take us downtown so that we can hopefully catch a beautiful sunset with views of the World Trade Center. And there's some murmuring, I forget exactly what you call it, but the birds are going crazy right above us, going in circles, back and forth across the street and vice versa. Hopefully I will not get pooped on. That would be an interesting start to the stream, although some would probably say that's good luck. 2:35 p.m., 43 degrees Fahrenheit.
Because I did the shots, the epidurals.
So what is that, 5 or 6 degrees Celsius in that neighborhood? John Burke says, hoping we have good sneakers. I hope so too. Check out some of these buildings on 86th Street. So again, we are on the Upper West Side. Beautiful architecture on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. It is on my list to do some side street walking with you guys, just to look at the architecture. So one of these days we will figure that out. Sue K here from Santa Fe, New Mexico. Esfield says, don't get pooped on, please, though it would be a first. You know, given the amount of time I walk along the water And same with Dutch and same with Gabe. To be honest, I guess I'm a little surprised none of us has yet, but as I say this, I today, which seems rather stupid on my. Ooh, a beautiful sight up ahead on our right as we cross Amsterdam, between Amsterdam and Broadway, covering an entire block to block, avenue to avenue, is the Belnord, which is this awesome building, but what you may know it as is the Arconia from the TV show Only Murders in the Building. So across the street, the massive structure on our right, that's kind of sort of white, beige white stone. That is the Belnord. And if I can do it, I'll cross the street so we can take a peek into the, they have this interior courtyard, which is so beautiful. I have a couple standalone videos of the Belnord that are just a couple minutes long. So cool. Yes, I think we can cross the street here. I'm just going to point the camera and keep walking because it really is my goal to get to these Sunset / World Trade Center. So we're going to be moving pretty fast today. I think I also just need some leg pumping exercise. Okay, cross. Noble Sweetness is here. Yeah, I think a lot of folks are coming to us from Dutch's stream just a few moments ago. He really, I love that guy. He finds ace content. I had no idea about this whole buried treasure, I guess you would say. All right, here, let me just point the camera inside so you guys can see. This is the beautiful Belnord with an interior courtyard. One day we'll come back and we'll spend a little more time. I just want to give you a peek, but also look up. Just beautiful, magnificent architecture. We will come back. We'll come back. That's a tease. That's a tease. Massive, massive apartment building here on the Upper West Side. And if you read about it, some of the units have so many rooms. You just don't see stuff like that anymore. All right, we're going to try to cross Broadway here. We are flying, folks. There's a lot of old, magnificent apartment buildings on the Upper West Side. One day, that would be another video idea, is just go from building to building, some of the more historic ones. Have to make a list one day. So, like I said, I have a couple, 1 or 2 minute videos of the Belnord if you just want to look a little more at it. I have one at the daytime and one at the nighttime. It's a really gorgeous building. And if anybody knows anybody who lives there, gets us access to the courtyard, extra points, bonus points. About to cross West End Avenue, one of the more beautifully named avenues in New York City. West End and Riverside. Paul Greenwell, Colleen, Patricia. Good to see everybody. Happy Saturday. My wife had to correct me because I thought it was Sunday. All right, cars are stopping. Ooh, still a couple Christmas lights here. Oh, these are nice. Kind of just the, what do you call it? The icicle lights just hanging down around the awning. Joseph's here, enjoys the live stream. Sean is here. And I apologize in advance if I miss your chat. I'm not trying to offend you. We're walking on the faster side today. We are chasing sunsets. I was inspired by the stream. There were clouds, but it those days where really beautiful way. So I really want to get on the water and as close to the World Trade Center as we can get. That I think would be really beautiful, to have a sunset with the Freedom Tower in the background. So we have a couple hours. It's going to take us some time to get there. And no fooling, the sunsets in New York these days are in the vicinity of 4:30 p.m. So hysterical or something. So we're on 86. There's two options here. We can go right, north, to 90th Street. Sorry. And there's an entrance at the Soldiers and Sailors Monument. But I don't want to backtrack today, so we're going to go left. We'll walk along Riverside Drive for a little bit until, I think, 79th Street or thereabouts. And there's an entrance there. Kind of a sketchy entrance, but there is an entrance there to the waterfront. I say sketchy because it's the old 79th Street boat basin, and they've been doing a lot of construction, so it's just a little funny looking. But it wouldn't actually be the first time we've walked through it on the stream. So hang tight. We will get through it together, folks. And I gotta say, already the sky looks really beautiful. So I think this is gonna be a fun one. I think it's gonna be worth it. And you will get to hear me probably out of breath. I'm not a runner, but I am a fast walker. And what's really fun is when you're on the waterfront, except for a few spots, you know, there's not really anything to slow you down. So sometimes if I've got some nice music on, or a podcast or an audiobook, and I'm really moving, I can really get some speed on there. It's fun. But the funny thing is the gimbal, you know, it's not always as obvious how fast you're moving on with the gimbal, because it smooths so much out. But you guys will let me know. Nightbot says, thanks to S Fields, 45 degrees Fahrenheit, 7 degrees Celsius. Wind is blowing west-northwest, 10 miles per hour. Current humidity, 51%. It feels pretty nice, I gotta say. It's in the 40s. I do have a scarf on today. No gloves, just a scarf. And we feel good. But we'll see how we feel in the water, because it's the waterfront, especially downtown in Lower Manhattan. The wind really blows down in the harbor. So we'll see. We'll check in back later on. So there is an entrance here. Why don't we, this takes us to Riverside Park. Let's do that. Let's get into the park. And then we have to go from the park to the waterfront. But I love Riverside Park. It's on my never-ending to-do list to do a Riverside Park stream. I've done plenty of recorded walks on Riverside Park, but we should do a stream here one day. This would be a good one on a Sunday, when the families and the dogs come out. But I want to do it on a nice sunny day, so I'll have to wait for a nice sunny day. Noble Sweetness. Lots of friends here today. Good to see everybody. Thanks for tuning on in. We are going to move today. We are chasing sunsets, inspired by our friend Dutch Maz. He had his camera trained on divers looking for buried treasure in the East River, but the background of his stream with the Queensboro Bridge, the sky just looked beautiful, so I thought we got to get out there and see that ourselves. This is the Warsaw Ghetto Memorial. in spring, this whole area is covered in flowers. Can we take this down? Let's try this. This whole area right around here, Riverside Park, is covered in flowers during springtime and really, really looks beautiful. And that particular memorial, very moving then. This is also a nice place to walk in winter when it snows, but you do have to be careful. It can get a little slippery, and you can see all these stairs and trails. You do have to be a little careful of slipping. I have a fun snow walk around here from last year where the snow was really coming down. That was a fun one to take if you want to check that one out later. Dorg Rock wishes you benefit from the calories burned. Hey, doing this for everybody. All right, folks, we're coming down. This would be a good spot for singing one's opera. Nice reverb in here. But you can start to see, I hope, the beautiful sky. And when we get a little farther to the left, you're going to see what inspired me to get out here. And I always have to remember, bikes to the right, pedestrians to the left. Look at that sky. I think this is going to be a fun one today. I think this is going to be a fun one. So let's see. So we 79th is up ahead. So that must have been, something like 83rd, 82nd Street, something like that. We have to get from 82nd at least to 14th, which is certainly, my legs can do it. It's sort of also a question of the battery. But goal is to get at least to 14th Street, but we'll go as far as battery, my legs, and my wife will allow. She's at home alone with the kiddo, and he's doing great, but he's a handful these days because he doesn't like to sleep. He likes to eat constantly. He's growing. He is growing. Colleen, hitting that thumbs up button. I appreciate you. Happy Saturday, Colleen. Love hanging on out. Ramona's here. Shivabalan likes to see the separate paths. Yeah, me too. There's certain areas where it's not as separated, but the city is the Brooklyn Bridge. So just give me a second. Hopefully it'll come back in a moment. Past the dead spot. This is the 79th Street boat basin I was mentioning before. To our left, they're doing lots of construction work in there. Used to be here. Traffic jam. All right, starting to come back. Thanks for bearing with me, folks. Thanks for bearing with me. Big dead spot there near the boat basin. But it looks like we're back. Looks like we're back. Sorry about that, folks. The thing with the dead spots is I'll just keep moving. And we'll get past it. Oh, check out that sky. Really does look beautiful. The sound of the marina to our right. Gorgeous out here, isn't it? This is one of my favorite walks, and you can actually go the entire length of Manhattan on this walk if you want to. You can start at Inwood Hill Park, walk south about 13 miles, take you all the way to Lower Manhattan. Ooh, and I hope we didn't lose the chat. I see the participant counter going up and down, which is usually a sign that the connection's okay. I'm not seeing the chat right now. Oh, I hope it comes back. Hopefully it comes back. It's kind of a difficult thing to restart the stream. If we did lose the chat. Oh, nope, there it goes. Just popped up. Sally's here, Rohan's here. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad we didn't lose the chat. That is demoralizing these days. I want you guys to have a good, smooth experience, and it's been so haphazard, but we're back. All right, we are moving. Ramona's here, Sally's here, Colleen's here, Rohan's here, lots of friends chasing sunsets with us today. You can see the beautiful, really dramatic clouds on the right in the distance over New Jersey. Our goal is to head south as quickly as we can, because I would like to see Lower Manhattan, the buildings light up as the sun goes down. Maybe even get a view of the Statue of Liberty if we're lucky. Who knows? So we're just hightailing it south here along the Hudson River Greenway, part of the Manhattan waterfront. Lisa, my beautiful wife, is here. Mima says I could think of worse demoralizing. I know. Could be worse things in life. And I'm certainly capable of yapping on, but it's just so much more fun to have the back and forth. And so it goes. Part of the joys of live streaming are the unpredictable things that happen along the way. West Side Highway to our left, you'll start to hear the traffic noise as we get closer to it. Just a few moments. And to our right, in the water, a number of piers. So for those of you who came, Karina's here. For those of you who came from Dutch's stream, he was on the east side, so the East River. And next to a barge. That barge is part of a big construction project that's going on the east side. So as compared to where we are today, like I was saying, there is an uninterrupted path from the top of Manhattan all the way to the bottom on the west side. It is not so on the east side. The biggest gap that I can think of is around the United Nations building, which I guess makes sense, right? For security reasons and stuff, you could sort of imagine why there might not be so much path there. Of course, the same logic should apply to the FDR, which goes right there. So anyways, they're in the process of filling in the gaps on the east side. This is a huge multi-year project. I mean, it's decades in the making. There are other gaps on the east side due to the east side waterfront is in disrepair, I should say, in certain spots, not in all spots, but in certain spots, like in some disrepair. So I'm really excited that they're going to kind of connect all the dots and hopefully invest on the east side waterfront, because I think the east side deserves something just as nice as this. I think it will be fun when it's fully connected, so that you could go from top to bottom on the east side, and it will make it easier to do what's called the Great Saunter, which S. Fields knows about. The Great Saunter is the 32-mile walk around Manhattan Island. Today, you have to do that through a number of detours into the city, out of the waterfront. So one day, we hope, there will be a fully connected path. That'll be fun. Heinz asking, so this is the Hudson. Yes, this is the Hudson River. There was lots of train infrastructure here, allowing goods to come into the city. And in this particular spot, you'll see a bunch of it. I love how they've incorporated some of this into the park. And on a nice day, you'll see lots of ducks and geese hanging out over here. It's really beautiful. Fahad is here. Good to see you. Good to see everybody. Somebody was asking about beaches on Dutchess Stream in Manhattan. There's not really a lot of beaches, and certainly nothing that I can think of off the top of my head that you're really allowed to go into the water. But there's a touch of beach, little sand. Noble says, is that the High Line up there? No, this is the West Side Highway. We have a ways to go to get to the High Line. So we're probably at we're in the lower 70s, high 60s, I think, in terms of streets. And the High Line begins at 34th Street. So we have about a mile and a half before the High Line. This is the West Side Highway up there. Jer is here. Good to see you. Always good to see our friends. Chasing sunsets today. Yeah, it's the old, what used to be called like Trump Place or something, that they took his name off of it. And Freedom Place are up here. I think those are in the 60s. Plus or minus a few blocks. I've been walking along here for a long time now, and during the summer and stuff, you'll see yoga classes and exercise classes. And right now, look at all the geese. All the geese are hanging out over there. But on a really nice day, this whole place fills with people. It's really beautiful, and you can see they've done such a good job here. Dog going on a walk. Chair is here. Good to see you. Yeah, Jared's mentioning a lot of boroughs have beautiful waterfronts. It's really on my list to spend more time on the water. I mean, there's so much to see. It's very relaxing. One of the things I want to do is from, if you ever take the New York City ferry to the Rockaways, I've noticed all these waterfront trails that I've never been on, so I have to do some more exploring. It's just, as you guys know, it's a little tough getting away from my beautiful wife Lisa and the kiddo for too long. And some of those would be, take an hour to get there, take an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours to explore, and then however long it took me to get there, it takes just as long to get back. So So not doing too much of those these days, but one day we'll get there. Achilles is here. Patricia asks, so where does this waterfront lead to? So we're taking it all the way south as far as we can get. We want to see the sunset with the World Trade Center, the Freedom Tower in the background. That's my objective today. So let me check the watch. Right now we're averaging 17-minute mile, but I started it from when I left the apartment, so we're walking faster now, so that number should keep going down. Scott Briggs is here, Lino's here. Lino mentioned Inwood Hill Park. This would have been, I don't know, 2 or 3 months ago. We did go north on this trail all the way to Inwood Hill Park. A few of you were on. Probably remember that. Old Pier. Sue Pritchard's here. Hey, good to see you. I'm going to cut through for a moment so I can show you guys more of the train stuff. We're going to see lots of waterfront, but let me go show you some train stuff while we're here. So first, all of these blocks mention the names of rail lines. And then I have to atop this. But up ahead is an actual engine, which I think kids can kind of get on and play on, or the kids at heart. Let's go take a quick look at that. And again, there's tons of seating over here. So you'll see people having their lunch, picnics. Oh, maybe they're doing a little construction work here. But you get the idea. You can go up there and play on the engine normally. Maybe they're repainting it, or it looks a little rusty, so maybe they're doing a tiny bit of work on it. It says part of the New York Central system. That's pretty cool. Oh, so yeah, there it is. The sign says Riverside Park Conservancy refurbishment of the locomotive. So they're in the process of fixing it up. So for years to come, it'll be better. So we'll be back. We'll see it again. Post refurb. It's always fun to see. And for those fans of the geese, I don't know if you're picking it up, but there are lots of, how should I say this? Fresh evidence of the geese being here. Yeah, the waterfront in Jersey City, I've heard good things, and apparently the Jersey City mayor has been doing a really good job of making the city more pedestrian friendly. So I need to learn more about that, go check that out at some point. One day. Coming up, this is a pier owned by the New York City Department of Sanitation. We are tremendous fans of the sanitation department and all the work that they do for New York City. Karina. Exactly. So there's another park up ahead a little bit where we often see geese. So we're going to have lots of opportunities, hopefully, to see the geese today. And for those of you who've joined us on a Hudson River walk before, we will see the Intrepid Air and Space Museum. and we will pass by Little Island. I think that's where we finished our last Hudson River walk. So the goal is to kind of get there and even shoot past it. But once we get to Little Island, we start to get a beautiful view of the Freedom Tower, which is our goal today. So that's where we're headed. You can see the exit signs, West 56, West 54th. So we're already down about 30 blocks. We're making good time. Jer says you have some nice views of Manhattan from the New Jersey side. Gives you a different perspective. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, going to Long Island City, Roosevelt Island, you get a very different perspective. Check out this building to our left. Anybody know the name of this building? I don't actually know the name of this building. I believe it's apartments. It's quite a look, huh? So it's an interest. Oh, it does say via 57 West. Via 57 West. If anybody wants to look that up and see what prices we're talking about. VIA 57 West. And then there's another sanitation department building. It's an interesting mix along the waterfront. Obviously, historically, really industrial. Goods would come in from the waterfront for distribution, for processing. You know, think about the meatpacking district. And now, since a lot of that industry no longer exists in New York City, things are slowly becoming residential. Robojax is here. Hey, good to see you. Karina would not want to live there. Why not? Next to the sanitation department. Next to a bunch of factories. You get the waterfront, but you probably get woken up at, I don't know what, 4 a.m. by the trucks heading out for the day. Bottle of wine. Anybody missing their bottle of wine? Yeah, I love the, geese, honk, honk. There's the geese. Hello, geese. Good to see you. Enjoy your meal. It's one of those things where I bet a lot of people read about it online. They see the pictures online and may not, do enough research about what's immediately around it. They'll get beautiful pictures of the views of the water, but not facing north, not facing south, next to gigantic and still operational facilities. Oh, it cracks me up. You could see under that overhang the salt that's going to be distributed throughout the city during freezing temperatures in the snow to help melt the ice. And then right next door to that, if you're in the market for Maserati or an Alfa Romeo, there's your spot. We're now at Pier 94. There's a beautiful park across the street. Between 54th and 53rd Street, there's a nice park. And in the distance, middle of my frame, right this second, is the Empire State Building. It's through the trees, so it's a little tough to see, but middle of the frame right now is the Empire State Building. We'll see more of it in a little bit. As we enter here, Pier 94 area, this is where the cruise ships dock in Manhattan. Those geese are everywhere. Yep. Suitcase, hoping to do the Roosevelt Island tram one day. Marty's asking, is that DeWitt Clinton Park? Oh, I just don't remember off the top of my head. It might be. I don't remember off the top of my head. If you're looking on Google Maps, it's right here next to the world famous Hustler Club. And then a few doors down, if you see the building that has the red fire escape, that's where some of the horses go. That's the stables. So some mornings and evenings you'll see the horses walking down the street heading into the stables right there. So this area, you do have to be a little careful just because the pedestrian path kind of scrunches up to the right here. And you will get yelled at if you dip into the bike lane. So you just gotta hug the side here. And as we go along here, there is a lot of interesting street art, graffiti. So hopefully we'll see some cool stuff along the way. Again, very interesting mix of old industrial buildings and then modern apartments. No cruise ship to our right, so maybe in one of the other ports, we'll see in a moment. I don't really follow their comings and goings, so it's always just a surprise when I see one. More auto dealerships up ahead. This is Lexus and Toyota, if that's the sort of thing you're looking for. Always cracks me up, the idea. JD is here, good to see. Pretty empty. JD remembers when there used to be nothing in the area. It used to be scary. Yeah, it's not so bad now. The waterfront, you know, there have been, as one might expect in a big city, you know, there's certainly been its share of crime. But I tend to come, you know, in the afternoon where there's a decent number of people. We're coming up on the Intrepid. Let me give you guys a recommendation. Nearby here, I just don't remember the exact street off the top of my head, but it's easy to find on Google Maps or whatever, is a location of the Sullivan Street Bakery. Preen asking, are we near Hell's Kitchen? Yes, if you just go to our left, east, yes, we are in the Hell's Kitchen area. But in this area, on one of these streets, is a location of the Sullivan Street Bakery. And I really, really, really recommend you go over there, grab a few things, and get it to go. And then there's lots of places to sit over here near the Intrepid. And I guarantee you'll have a good time. Have a little picnic lunch from Sullivan Street Bakery and sit over here by the Intrepid And I'll show you some spots just up ahead. There's some benches right here in front of the Intrepid, but then there's a pier that runs alongside of it, and you'll have a great time. JD's a big fan of the Sullivan Street Bakery, those bombollones. I forget what it's called, but they have this bread. I wish I could remember the name of it, but it's a big, it's almost like a garlic breadstick, but they put cherry tomatoes into the bread. I forget the name of it, but it's so good. And they do pizza, but they do this very particular type of pizza. It's super thin. They're known for their bread, so anything bread related there is just incredible. And the pizza that I particularly like is potato. So there's no cheese, it's just bread, potato, and onion, and I think like rosemary. It's so good. So I get a couple of those, get some of that garlic tomato bread, get something sweet, get some Italian sodas, and you're gonna have a really good time. I guarantee it. Here we are coming up to the Intrepid. And like I said, there's some benches right here to have your picnic lunch, but then there's an entire pier running alongside the Intrepid. And so you can sit, you can watch, take a look at the Intrepid, watch the water, watch the people. There's some park stuff over here. There's, I think, even a little dog park, so you can watch the dogs. It's a really good time over here. I think we have a bunch of fans of Sullivan Street Bakery in the chat. I love that place. There's another one, someone may have mentioned it, but there's one up here in the 40s, and then there's another in the 20s on the west side. So you could do that, go to the High Line, Chelsea Market, stuff like that. Pier 84, this is. All right, let's take a brief pause and just take in the Intrepid for a moment. Right here at the corner, Pier 84. How beautiful is this? And so we learned last time we were here that it was used in, I think it was like the Apollo program. So if you notice at the left-hand side, there's that crane and it's got a little capsule. I always thought that was just like a little Easter egg, like a little bit of trivia or something, but it turns out this actually was in a part of helping to retrieve things from the ocean in partnership with NASA. I think that's so cool. All right, heading on in, folks. We are on a mission today. So as we enter Pier 84 here to our right in the water, this is where you'll often pick up Circle Line cruises, some of the different boat tours that you can take around New York City. Certainly recommend those, but if you want to save a few bucks, more than a few, to be honest, you can, of course, take the New York City ferry, which is now, I think, $4 a person. They just raised the prices. It used to be the same price as the subway, but now it's $4. Still, it's a remarkable deal. And in the building up ahead that we're going to pass in a moment, there is a New York City ferry stop. You can take it either to Battery Park City, and we did that on a stream once, absolutely stunning, or you can stay on it and take it to Staten Island. And then if you go to Battery Park City, of course, you can take the actual Staten Island ferry, which is free. So if you don't want to spend any money at all, one of the best things you can do in New York City, take the Staten Island ferry, and you get to see Staten Island, you get to see Lower Manhattan, and you get a nice view of the Statue of Liberty. But in order The Circle Line cruises will get you closest. The Midtown New York City ferry will get you second closest, but pretty, you know, it's a distance. And then the Staten Island ferry is the farthest. So if you want to get close to the Statue of Liberty, you have to take one of the others. But you can see it. You can take pictures. You just might have to zoom in a little bit. I see Christian. Aya Vlogs, good to see you guys. Always fun to hang out. Walking here on the Hudson River Greenway. Right now we're near all the boats. We're heading as far south as we can get so we can go watch the sunset with the Freedom Tower in the background. On our left, we just passed 42nd Street. The building at the corner there in gray is the Chinese consulate. I've been there a couple times to get a visa to go to China. There's a bowling alley on the right, Lucky Strike. I think it used to be a different one. I think it used to be Bowlmore or something. And then we're starting to get into the Javits Center area, which is the big convention center. Yeah, Jared was mentioning some of these boats. I really got to take one of these really long ones. And if we can figure it out, I'll try to film it. I think that would be a lot of fun. But for $4, you can take from Pier 11 and Wall Street. For $4, you can ride the New York City ferry all the way to Rockaway Beach. And if you time that right, and I have done that on film, you can time some incredible sunsets. So Lisa probably thinks I'm utterly insane, but I would take the boat out to Rockaway. And for example, on September 11, I wanted to see the lights. It's called the Tribute in Light. I wanted to see it in the water. So I would sit out there for an hour or two just to get the timing just right. And then you get on the boat, it takes, 45 minutes. But you get some spectacular views. So, as you can tell, I'm a huge fan of the ferry system here. So this is the building. There's some commuter ferries over here, but you can also catch, like I said, there's a New York City ferry stop, which will take you to Battery Park City or Staten Island. Noble Sweetness saying, looks like dusk is setting in. Paul Greenwell, Angelo, Dusty, good to see everybody. And somebody just asked about hotels. Well, hotels is a complicated subject because obviously the most important thing is your budget. And New York City hotels are not cheap. And then I would say the second thing is your location, because you don't want to stay, you could probably save a few bucks and stay in Coney Island and you have a great time, but it's going to take you an hour and a half to get into the city every day. If your plan is to spend all your time in Midtown, that's not going to make a lot of sense. So it depends on your budget, it depends on where you want to be. I realize that's a little bit of a cop-out. I'll give you a couple of we got married at the Redbury Hotel, which is used to be called the Martha Washington. Has a lot of interesting history, but we loved that place, the Redbury. If you're into kind of smallish, boutique-ish hotels. And that one's in East 29th Street, between East 29th and East 30th Street, near Park Avenue. So it's kind of centrally located for a lot of stuff. That's one example, but if you tell us more about your requirements, we can figure something out. Again, the beautiful Javits Center on our left. Pier 76 on our right, which is now open as a park. So it looks like there's some folks skateboarding over there. That looks pretty cool. And then right here, the Classic Car Club. Cowboy Bill is here. Story about our wedding. Lisa had one requirement, which was dancing. I had one requirement, which was very good food. And we went to a bunch of venues to check out, and they probably had one thing or the other. Eventually, we got to visit the Redbury, and the hotel's restaurant is called Marta. And if this name means anything to anybody, it's a Danny Meyer restaurant. So he runs Union Square Hospitality Group, Union Square Cafe, and a little business called Shake Shack. Marta is a sort of Italian spot, primarily pizza. It's really, 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 really good if you ever get a chance to go there. And so she got this beautiful hotel, nice little dance floor, and I got an incredible restaurant, so it worked out. To our left, I'm pointing the camera, that is Hudson Yards, with the vessel coming into the screen. And over here, it's not always open, but there is a spur of the High Line. So the railroad track that you see running across the screen right now, Sunshine NYC, hey, good to see you. The little railroad track that you see, that is a spur of the High Line. It's not always open, but it's really fun when it is open because it's right on top of the rail yards here that gives this area Hudson Yards. That's the rail yards. So you can get some pretty cool views and pictures of the trains that give this area its name. Today, probably not doing the High Line today. Our objective is to hustle on south and try to get a beautiful sunset with the Freedom Tower in the background. Patricia asking, do they still have the helicopter dock? Yes, they do. We're actually coming right up to it. This one is, oh, what's the name of it? I forget the name of it. It's one of these fancy pants ones that'll take you to like your house in the Hamptons. Sometimes we see the helicopters come in, and the noise is incredible. You've probably heard this entire walk, there's been helicopters above us the entire time. It is a big political topic of conversation these days because of how many there are. Blade, that's the name of this, Blade. Forgot. Suffice to say, it's not something I I am not a customer. Definitely not. So the spur makes a left there. Oh, let me pause for a second. We mentioned it before. There is the Empire State Building. As you walk along the city, there are like an infinite number of beautiful angles of the Empire State Building. And it's one of those landmarks that if you live here, helps kind of immediately orient where you are in the city. Because it sits right at the corner of 5th Avenue and 34th Street. So if you see it, you can just immediately give yourself a sense of direction. And you can see it looks like they're building even more apartment complexes over here. All right, coming into the next park section. So you can sort of see the west side, sort of industrial, business, park, industrial, business, park, industrial, business, park. So there's a bit of park here, and then the next section will be Chelsea Piers. Yeah, Jerry, you can take some really incredible photos over here. Again, in spring, you know, it's winter, so a lot of the plants, not their time to shine, but in spring, this whole little garden area on my left just explodes in flowers and color, really beautiful. I'm gonna stick close to the water and shut up for a little bit so you guys can just enjoy the water sounds. Hudson sailing, I've done that before. It's pretty fun. We are just passing 27th Street. And as we come up ahead, you will begin to see the Freedom Tower, which has been just to see a sunset, see the sun come down with the Freedom Tower in the background. So the beautiful, dramatic sky to our right, and then the Freedom Tower to our left. Noble asks, is this park walkable at nighttime? So it's open 24 hours a day. I mean, I would tell you, the way I approach these things is if I'm doing something, it means I'm obviously comfortable doing it. So I'm comfortable coming here in the morning, in the afternoon, and probably the early evening. I don't know that I would necessarily come, you know, after midnight. It's not to say that you can't, because it's open. It's just I'm not sure I would, if that makes sense. Because there just will be very few people at that point. And I tend to come when, you know, there's some folks around. Daryl's here, good to see you. Geese. Hello, geese. like I said, coming up to Chelsea Piers next. Lots of activities, sporting, play some golf, and lots of kids' activities here. And there are a number of places to eat, including, I guess we'll see in a second. It's not Blue Bottle, is it? It's, what's that place called? We'll see in a minute. There's like a coffee shop over here that Lisa and I have had brunch at before. It's pretty fun. Get some outdoor seating, sit by the water. It's pretty fun. Bluestone, yes, thank you. Lisa, my beautiful wife, Lisa. Bluestone. Ooh, more geese.
No, that's...
Katya's here from Berlin. Hey, good to see you. Sunshine hasn't been to Chelsea Piers in a long time. Hey, it's always really fun. I mean, we don't come and necessarily like spend money here. We just place to sit around, hang around, lots to see. We'll come to this Bluestone, we'll grab a drink, or we'll have brunch. But there is lots to do here. Plenty to do. We'll walk around along the water. You can go on the other side, but a little more to see on this side. Yes, Lisa has a very good memory. Bluestone. Suke, agree. New York City is welcoming to all. It's one of the reasons we love it. You can also pick up some of the tours over here. I have seen this, the classic harbor line. Look how beautiful these boats are. How fun would that be to take a tour on one of these? Very low helicopter. Dutch Maz, our good friend Dutch Maz. I was telling everybody at the beginning, Dutch, that this stream was inspired by you. A little bit that you were on the East River, so the waterfront sounded promising. But the background of your stream, the sky, I was like, that looks like we are going to have a nice sunset tonight. So Dutch, this is inspired, dedicated to our good friend Dutch. Always good to see you. Hello from the Q train. Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. It's always fun to watch a stream on the train because it turns off every minute until you're back in the train station. ER's here. You could take a shopper tour. I think I'm probably not. It's not that I wouldn't, it's that they sit over Central Park and I'm so angry at them. So I do not think I will be a customer of any helicopters in the near future. They kind of drive me crazy these days. Though I am absolutely sure you would get some stunning views. I just don't think it's worth the expense of annoying thousands of people. All right, let's, we can go around, but let's pop out of here. Shorter path today. And you guys do have to check out Dutch's stream from earlier today. So there's the possibility of buried treasure in the East River. And I will leave it to him to explain more on his stream, but he was watching the folks who are diving, literally diving into the East River, searching for that buried treasure. And it was his stream today that inspired ours. So here we are. Oh, I know you are, I know. But I can't help but yap on about my personal hang-ups. I know. And I don't, I try not to pass personal judgment on any of it because it's legal to do, it's allowed, and I really am sure you get incredible views. The noise of it has become sort of constant. Sunshine was saying, I saw that, what's in the river? So suppose somebody went on the Joe Rogan show and said that they found documentation that the American Museum of Natural History may have dumped like a train car's worth of woolly mammoth tusks in the East River decades ago. The American Museum of Natural History denies this, but those are so valuable that at least one or two private, search companies are literally diving into the river as we speak to search for that. So we'll see what happens. We'll see who's right. And it sounds like it will be on, what was it? National Geographic or something? Sounds like they're, videotaping all this. So we'll see. I told Dutch my view is, I don't know what they're going to find. They're going to find something. I don't know what it's going to be, and I don't know who it's going to be. Sunshine says they have to dig. He was showing the current today in the East River, and that water is moving. So, imagine decades of sediment and dirt, construction, and all of the iPhones that people have dropped into the river over the years. So they're going to find stuff. It's just a question: are they going to find what they think they're looking for? And just how onerous is it going to be to figure that out? So they had like radar ships and stuff. I mean, there's a lot going on in the East River right now. It's pretty fascinating, regardless of how it all turns out. Dutch Moz, Discovery Channel, Sewer Divers Sunday, 9 p.m. I mean, it's going to be fascinating, regardless. But it was hysterical. I had to leave at the very end to start heading over here, but I did see the part where Dutch and the dive crew were kind of waving back and forth, and then my wife texted me, Lisa texted me, said that I forget, it was like interviewing or chatting with them, but that was so hysterical. I love it. All right, folks, we're making incredibly good progress. So to our left is the High Line, is Chelsea Market. To our right, Little Island. How beautiful is this? Ambrose is here, a good friend. Good to see you. And for those of you who don't know, Dutch has some good videos of this. I have a couple of videos. There's an rooftop park right there. So if you're ever in the neighborhood Obviously, Little Island, I'm a huge fan of Little Island. I think it's really beautiful. But a lot of people have not yet discovered the rooftop park over here. It's free. Both of these are free. And I would try to do both if I were you. You'll get different views, different experience. But that rooftop park is a ton of fun. What is that, Pier 57, I think? And Little Island is Pier 55. If you want to look that up. Hey, I see Surfboard in the chat. Good to see you.
Here.
Speaking of hotels, Standard Hotel, the Whitney, and this ancient metal structure here is the site of the former White Star Lines. This is where the Titanic was supposed to come in. And if you spend some time around here, there are some plaques sharing the history. But I do love that they've retained this. You know, it's tragic, but it's a, you know, beautiful marker. ER says, is Chelsea Billiards still around? Oh, that's a good question. I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know. The patios, are you guys talking about the Standard Hotel? There is, Lisa and I have been up there. There's a nice bar, good views. I think there's a pool up there if I remember correctly. And obviously really recommend the Whitney. The art at the Whitney is spectacular. So it's modern American art for the most part. But they also have all these terraces. So you go, you enjoy the museum and the art, and then you can get these stunning views all around. And of course, go to the High Line. Dutch says that arch is landmarked. Hey, Dutch, of course, unlike us wannabes, unlike us amateurs, is a licensed New York City tour guide. So highly recommend reaching out to Dutch. Check out his channel, check out his streams for far more authoritative information. And reach out to him through, I think, his Instagram, but correct me if I'm wrong, Dutch, if you're interested in a official New York City tour. I guarantee you'll have a good time with Dutch. He's such a fun guy. In fact, Lisa and I may have to take you up on that one day, get a little private tour of Central Park with you. I think that would be fun. We'll chat about that. So people always ask about this structure right here that sort of looks like the outline of a factory or a storage facility. And the funny thing is, it is a work of art. And if you're inside the Whitney, there is a plaque to this work of art by the window.
Yeah, so.
I just love that. It is a piece of art with a plaque in the Whitney. Sally's here. And this is going to be yet another public park and part of the pier. So lots of construction going on, and there were some geese hanging out. There's geese central on the waterfront today. But look at this, I just think this is beautiful. I think this is beautiful. If my wife Lisa is still on the stream, if anybody's familiar with San Francisco and something called the Sutro Baths, that gave me little memories of that. And there was a plaque there for that structure, for that artwork. Just passing Horatio Street now, so we're in the West Village, where the Manhattan grid system starts to turn over to the named streets. We love to head over here in the afternoon, head down to Christopher Street. There's lots to see, obviously, walking around in the West Village. There's a million great restaurants. Malatesta and Malaparte are two that they're sister restaurants, as their similar names might suggest. Italian food, and really, really, really reasonably priced by New York City standards, by Manhattan standards. Malatesta and Malaparte, so recommend. Head over here, spend the afternoon on the waterfront, go to one of those for dinner, and then in winter, you can't do this because the High Line is only open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. But in the warmer months, when the High Line is open till like 11 at night, walk off that dinner at the High Line. It'll take you to Hudson Yards, and you can hop on the subway there, or you can walk in, to 34th Street, whatever you want to do. But that's something we love to do. More geese, geese central. And one of these days, maybe we'll run into Casey Neistat. I know he likes to run and hop on his board here. Dusty said, gonna have to Google the Sutra Bay. Yeah, so it's like a ruins. It's like a modern ruins in San Francisco. It's really beautiful. We visited. All right, now we're talking. All right, folks, these are the views that we were hustling for the last hour and a half for. So we have the sun coming down. We have the Freedom Tower, and it's very, very, very small in the frame, but we do have the Statue of Liberty in the frame as well. So we're going to continue onwards. Our legs are doing okay. Our battery's doing okay. So we're going to keep going onwards and just track this sunset. It's so beautiful down here. This is what we came for. Wait, did we get a question from S. Fields? How were the piers numbered? Oh, maybe Dutch knows the answer to this. So we've gotten two pieces of information about the piers. So when you go all the way down, there is a pier A. So there's some lettered piers. Near where we started is a pier I. So there's a handful of lettered piers. Then there's also the numbered piers, which run. So Pier A is in Battery Park City at the south of, not Battery Park City, Battery Park. Pier A is at Battery Park, so the southern tip of Manhattan. And the numbered piers also go up from there. So, start, 1, 2, 3, blah, blah, blah. So we've passed some of the ones. Where we started was that sanitation pier, I think is like Pier 99. So we know that information. And then one day, Adam Romacek was on, and he did tell us there is a formula for the pier number, but it's sort of slipping my mind right now. I think it's like the pier number minus 30 gives you your cross street, something like that, if anybody can Google that. but if I've even read a book about the waterfront and didn't really learn about how they came to the numbering and everything. So I'll have to do more research. If anybody knows or can share anything, let us know. I know there's a formula, and it did. I remember when he told it, we did check it, and it did look like it was working. I just can't remember what it is. And now I'm in the named streets, not the numbered streets, so it's a little harder. some beautiful views here, just spectacular. These piers right here, near, as we get near Christopher Street, just sitting out here in the afternoon you're gonna have such a relaxing time. It's so beautiful. All right, S Fields, coming in clutch. Numbering of the piers to the north corresponds to the nearest numbered street plus 40. Thus, for example, North River Pier 86 is at West 46th Street. 40. Okay, so I had 30 in my mind for some reason. 40. Okay, we will try to remember that. But again, there are also some lettered piers, and I don't really know the story behind those. One day we'll do more research. But it's also probably one of those things that, you know, happened 200 years ago. Who knows? I mean, there's a few that I sort of know. So like, I think it's Pier 99 is the sanitation one on the west side, and then Wall Street, Pier 11 is where you catch a lot of the New York City ferry boats. Those are a couple that I, you know, remember. Add 40. I'm sure, my guess is that wasn't like intentional or anything. It was probably just, you know, that's a formula that folks noticed over the years. But I don't know. I don't know. Because how would they get to 40? All right, let me show you guys a little street art while we're here. This is Christopher Street, so take this over. Again, head over to Malaparte, have a delicious meal with your better half. Little art for you guys. But let's continue onward, pointing our camera towards the sun so we can continue to catch these beautiful, look at the sky. It's just like there's so much happening in the sky right now. Bitcoin Beach, Jamaica, good to see you. The chair says, I guess someone was drunk. That sounds about right. What, on the New York City waterfront? Yeah, Dusty, I gotta try to commit that to memory, because it actually is pretty helpful when you're walking around. Folks are asking, you know, what street are we near? And we've told you guys the trick in Central Park. You look for the lampposts, and it'll say, in general, which side of the park you're on. And the first two numbers will tell you the nearest cross street. So if you ever get lost in Central Park, look for the lampposts. So we can see our friends in New Jersey across the water. Can of course take the PATH train. We're coming up on Pier 40, and there is a path, so you can walk around Pier 40. And we're going to pass some tennis courts in a moment. Basketball courts. Darian is here. Somebody was asking about swimming on Dutch's channel, I think, but not a lot of swimming in New York. He just showed the polar bear plunge in Coney Island, which was a blast. But in these waters, not a ton of swimming. Certainly not sanctioned. But there is kayaking and sailboating. I've done the sailboats before. That was a lot of fun. And like I said, big fan of the ferry system. You can get around, get some beautiful sights for $4. Really, really, really recommend that. And what my wife and I would do is, I mean, it used to be you could do this for about 20 bucks. You would get, it used to be $2.75, so you'd spend, $5 on a couple of tickets, and then you'd spend 15 bucks on board for a couple of beers. And so for 20 bucks, you'd have a nice time. Dusty Cole. ICLL. ER says there used to be the best lobster restaurant in Hoboken off the ferry. What was the name of that, ER? Last night we popped into Grand Central for a minute and we did see Luke's Lobster.
Oh, it's like a
And
sponsored one.
hilariously, you can get a $40 sandwich. What was it? It was like 25 for 4 ounces, 35 for 6 ounces. Luke's Lobster in Grand Central. That really cracked me up. I'm trying to leave room because there are some runners around us. In this Pier 40 facility, there are a lot of exercise facilities, so there are fields and stuff. S Fields, oh God. A significant shout out to S Fields, one of our moderators, going as always above and beyond. So please respect S Fields' wishes, keeping this a fun, positive, and clean chat for all of us to enjoy. And S Fields went truly, truly above and beyond on Thanksgiving during the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And I've been meaning to say to S Fields, it is her pleasure. So any time she wants to pick a walk or a site. So S Fields, keep that one in mind. Ooh, and you can start to see the sun beginning to go down behind the clouds in the distance. I think once we get towards Battery Park, I think we're going to start to see some really interesting colors. Fingers are crossed. And Prince Ice, yes, Lisa. I did reach out to Prince Ice because he had commented, but I wanted to make sure S Fields also knew. Gail and Tom Frank, greetings from Tucson, Arizona. Hey, good to see you.
I gotta charge my NYC.
I've been to Phoenix. I'm not sure I've ever been to Tucson. I have to think. Some of the best pizza I ever had was in Phoenix, Arizona. Ooh, so as we get closer to Battery Park City, that's the big mass of apartment buildings up ahead on the right. We've been alerting everybody. We did know this was coming. So I think it's called Rockefeller Park, is the park that kind of surrounds Battery Park City. We've been alerting folks who hang out with us that it was going to get closed at some point. So the East River Park and the Rockefeller Park here at Battery Park were going to be closed for multiple years due to flooding and to help protect against future hurricanes. So I guess what they're going to do is kind of raise the park some number of feet, and it's going to take several years to do that. So as you can see, it does look like there's fencing and other stuff up, so that process may have begun. So as we get closer, we'll have to see what the detour situation is or what. But I do know this is going to be a multi-year process. And it's obviously important and probably quite necessary. But it is going to be a little bit of a bummer because it was such a beautiful park. ER says, no, I lived in Phoenix for 30 years. Pizza sucked there. So here's the thing. There was one pizzeria there. I mean, I only had one, but I went specifically to this pizzeria. So Pizzeria Bianco. And Chris Bianco, the chef there, is one of the top, they call them pizzaiolos, pizza makers in the country. And the story is, I was on a road trip with my dad, and I told him, I mean, we both like pizza quite a bit, and I told him, when are we ever going to be in this area again? We have to go there. So I think we probably went thinking we could go at lunch. So I bet we got there at like noon or 1, and it turned out that they weren't open for lunch. They were open for dinner, but they opened at like 4 or 5. And my dad is many things, but when he's hungry, patient is not one of them. And as the hours ticked by, he got more and more upset. He was so mad at me. And of course we're there. And at a certain point, it's like, we're gonna have this, we're gonna do this. Eventually, after hours, we get to sit down, we get to order, and we get to eat. And he looks at me and goes, yeah, that was worth it. It really was some of the best pizza I've ever had in my life. It was so good. It was so good. But there's a story about Chris, I may forget some of the details, but he's been doing this so long that I think he like damaged his lungs, from the soot, or I don't know exactly what the story is. So he's still in the game, but I think hopefully he's doing okay. But I will never forget that memory. Road trip with my pops, waiting for hours, watching him get more and more upset with me. One day my kiddo will do the same to me, make me wait for hours and hours and hours for something I have limited interest in. And then hopefully in the end, I will see the error of my ways, that he was right all along. Jer says, have we heard of the New York Pizza Tour? So that's Scott Wiener. I probably have not mentioned that on this channel before, but that's a good point, Jer. So there is a thing called Scott's Pizza Tours. Highly recommend that. I've never done that, but what we have done with Scott is he runs an annual charity event. It's in a church. Lisa can probably share the link or the details if she's available. There's a church on Houston Street with a big auditorium, and he because he's friends, he's connected to all of the pizza makers in New York City, and through his tours, all he's doing is spreading the love and enthusiasm for New York City pizza. So he has built over years incredible relationships with all of the best pizza makers in the city. And if you don't know New York City pizza that well, one of the things is most of the best pizzerias don't sell slices. They only sell whole pies. And so the trick at this charity event is he's convinced all of them, every one of them, to sell slices for $1 a ticket. And so it's the one time a year for a lot of people they may be able to get some of these, because like DeFara, for example, normally you have to go deep into Brooklyn, wait hours and hours and hours, and not everybody can do it, or they can't afford it, whatever. At this charity event, a slice is $1 each, and all of the money goes to charity. It's an incredible event, so definitely check out Scott, an amazing human being, and his pizza tours. But if you're in New York, check out the charity. And a little bit of an Easter egg, but in one of the videos, they do a little video about the event every year. Lisa and I were first in line. We got what are called VIP passes, and we got early enough that we were like the first in line. So there's one of the videos from one year it opens with me and Lisa standing in line with these empty pizza boxes, which is what you get, and you fill up the pizza box with all your dollar slices. It's hysterical. So I'm not gonna post a link. You guys can search around and maybe one day you'll find us. It's so hysterical thinking about that. All right, check out the Freedom Tower. Check out this view, the beautiful sky. To our right, City Vineyard. So for those of you who know City Winery, there's a few of those around the city. I think now, obviously the big one was next to Little Island, but I think there's a spot in Grand Central now that's City Winery. So City Vineyard's a little spot. Get some wine, some music, hang on out. Lisa says it's quite an image of me. Like I said, we're not going to share the link because I haven't seen it in a long time, but and it's probably from years ago. But a little Easter egg. Somebody can go hunting for an Easter egg. Oh, that gave me a good memory. That gave me a really good memory. So as we get closer to Battery Park City, we'll probably get some buffering. But as you guys can tell, we're just walking as, you know, fast as we can. So if it does buffer, we'll get past it, you know, in however long it takes. So just bear with me. But yeah, super beautiful down here. Hudson River Greenway. And as we round the corner up ahead, we will be entering Battery Park City. And part of, obviously we're here for the views, but we'll also figure out what the detour and construction situation is. So bear with us momentarily. Oh, and there's the sun. Look at that. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So this is why we've been hustling down here. Let's check the watch. 2 hours, 9 minutes. We've burned 806 calories. Average pace 17 minutes. And we're at 7 miles, 7.58 miles. Still feeling good, folks. All right, so we're gonna have to turn the corner to get that sun again. And we will be catching the sun from Battery Park City. This is much farther than I thought we would get. But just hang tight. We will get the sun back in just a moment.
That's the question.
Ooh, and all the beautiful skyscrapers here in Lower Manhattan. All right, hang tight, folks. We're gonna get that sun back. I just gotta get to the next corner. Ooh, this was worthwhile, I think. One last look at the skyscrapers from over here. Woolworth, one of my favorite buildings. If I had a spare $100 million, the penthouse at the Woolworth building sure looks nice. Going to be signs. I want to get to the corner before I stop and read one of these signs, but it looks like there are some signs explaining what's happening. But let me get to a spot where we get the sun back, and then we'll look for one of those signs. I don't want to miss any of the sunset. That's why we came on this journey. Chris is here. Hey, good to see you, Chris. Happy 2023. Everybody check out Chris's channel. Some amazing vlogs from Granada. Good to see you, Chris. Happy 2023. Wishing you well. We have been pumping our legs for nearly 8 miles now to get here in Lower Manhattan to watch the sunset. So just up ahead, when we get to the end of this, we should be back with the view of the sun. LL has to head out, but hey, catch us on the replay. Oh, and check out Naboul's channel as well, south of France. We've made a lot of friends along the way on this whole YouTube thing. And if you want to see some beautiful imagery, Naboul's channel in the south of France, really wonderful. All right, here we go. Oh, this isn't too bad. So it looks like they must have only just begun to do work here because there's really not a lot going on just yet. Oh yeah, this is perfect. Got the Colgate clock. The rail station, Ellis Island, the Statue of Liberty. Oh, we're gonna have some good views, folks. This was worth it. So again, this is Rockefeller Park. They will be doing some resiliency work here, but it looks like it has not really begun yet. Let's get ahead over this way. Geese. And this field is covered in geese droppings. Oh, I love it. Part of the fun, part of the charm. Last time Lisa and I were here, does anybody remember Little Amal? I did a few videos of Little Amal if you want to check those out, but there was one event of Little Amal's we went to that we did not film, which was she was going to meet families, the family of folks who were impacted, suffice to say, that's a little bit of an understatement, by September 11. And so we didn't film that one, we just wanted to experience it. It was the only one that Lisa was able to come with me to. And it was so beautiful. So it's in the kind of mid-40s, Chris. It's not too bad. It's really not too bad. It's been kind of unseasonably warm, actually. It's starting to come down again a little bit, but no complaints. There you go, 44 degrees Fahrenheit, 7C, 7 miles per hour. Yeah, the wind is not really much wind right now. Oftentimes the waterfront is very windy, but it's not been too much today. Ambrose says fertilizer. Yes, well said, well said. This is probably the most fertilized lawn in New York City. Isn't this beautiful? Let me pause for a second and give you guys some All right, how is that? Oof. Okay, it took 8 miles. It took 2 hours, but I think it was worth it. I think it was worth it. Keep the camera pointed to the right as we make our way. We're just going to enjoy the sights here as the sun comes down. Gene, this one is on the iPhone. Usually the streams I use the iPhone, and the recorded videos I use the GoPro. I do have a plan though, because we've been having such kind of funny times with the Prism app. The GoPro is able to stream, but the way it works is I'll have to read the chat on my phone, and I was going to just wear the GoPro. So we may try that one stream, and you guys will have to tell me what you think. The upshot is I won't lose the chat. The downside is I won't be able to like move the camera as much. But something to try. We may try that. Gal grew up across in Bayonne, New Jersey. Hey, that's where they, I think the Royal Caribbean, we saw the cruise port, the Manhattan cruise port. I think the Royal Caribbean picks up in Bayonne, New Jersey. This is another thing we mentioned earlier, a few miles ago. This is the ferry terminal here in Battery Park City. So this is where there is a New York City ferry that runs here. It takes you up to Midtown Manhattan or down to Staten Island. Yeah, exactly, Jer. Exactly. But we may try it just to compare things. Try different things. While we're here, this is the Irish Hunger Memorial, which is very beautiful and worth a visit. And Brookfield Place to our left, lots of luxury shopping, but also some good restaurants. El Vez, if you're into Mexican. I think that's from Philly, if we have any Philly friends in the chat. And there's a Parm location there. We're fans of Parm. Oh yeah, this was worth it, huh? Look at this. Again, inspired, dedicated to our friend Dutch, who inspired our desire to see the sky today. And wow, I think it was worth it.
Let's go, Joey.
So you have the sun, and then just a little to the left, that is the Statue of Liberty. We'll stop again up ahead. We'll continually stop and get some nice views. And again, if it buffers, hopefully it'll buffer on a nice image, and we'll continue walking so you won't miss anything. And hopefully, the stream will come back. So just, if it does buffer around here, bear with us. That's Fields. Bob Ross would love it. I agree with that. All right. We're going to work our way around the water here. Again, I will try to keep the camera on the sunset. Camera stream. The clouds were part of it, and the clouds is partly how you get the color. You know what? I think we're done walking. Why don't we go down here? Let me see how the connection is. See if the connection down here. So let me just see how the connection is over here. But yeah, I think we've reached our destination. What do you? Oh, I think I have to go back a little bit. Hold on, have to backtrack. Have to backtrack the connection. This little area is a dead zone, so just give me a moment. Give me a moment. And a gigantic, massive New York City thank you to our good friend Bailey for the £5 super chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you 5 times over. We appreciate you. All right, bear with me, folks. I think the connection was better right at this spot. So let me put the camera down and let me line us up. And I think we're just going to hang here and enjoy the rest of the sunset. Oh, beautiful. Let me hit stop on my watch. The official stats, 2 hours, 23 minutes, 30 seconds, 8.22 miles. Average pace, 17 minutes, 26 seconds. And we have burned 1,153 total calories. That includes 881 active calories. Oh, I love these walks. Cowboy Bill, going to bed. Hey, have a great night. Thanks for being with us. S. Fields with the real info. Bob Ross, the father of ASMR, 100%. Starting to have done this enough now to know where some of the dead spots are, and I know there's one over here right by Brookfield Place. I don't really... Oh, do you see the birds go across the screen? I know there's a dead spot here by Brookfield Place. You do have to just get past it, but oh well. ICU is here. I'll tell you guys the other secret that I've learned is if you check the forecast and it's going to rain during the day but stop at night, I've found that there's often very good sunsets because you still get the clouds, and I guess there's something about the precipitation in the clouds that you get all these color effects. So for any of our other filming or photography friends, little tip that I try to pay attention to. All right, let me give you some panning. So over to our left, we have some lovely bridge views. Jared's heading out to dinner. Hey, it was fun having you. Thanks for hanging on out. Yeah, thank you, S. Fields. We're just trying to make it so everybody can enjoy. Let me try to get this boat in the frame. This is really beautiful. This is your screensaver. Maybe I'll try to cut some of this footage later with some music. Just watching the water come in. And if you guys want to see something, if you're enjoying this and you want to see something similar, our good friend Dutch Moz on New Year's Eve, New Year's Eve, did a sunset walk on the boardwalk in Coney Island. And that's been on our to-do list because the sunsets there are really spectacular. And it just, that particular night, like the sun was unbelievable looking. So if you can't tell, we're big friends of Dutch Moz. Check that out. And the water's really rippling right here. Little view of the sky. Really are starting to see the reds and the pinks come in. And then let me show you the water. You guys are making me so hungry. What is this conversation? Okay. Super beautiful. I think we will walk a little bit more. I have a tiny, Lisa's ready for dinner. Well, tonight we will actually eat at a semi-reasonable time. Let's see, it's 4:30. Yeah, we'll eat at a normal time tonight. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. It's gonna buffer, but we're gonna walk around this part and we're gonna go to the tip of Manhattan, and hopefully by that point, with the sun having gone down, we should get some nice, hold on. We should get some nice skyline views. So let me head down, and hopefully in the next little bit, we'll start to see the skyline light up with the buildings. But how beautiful has this been? So again, bear with the buffering. It's probably gonna buffer as I go around this corner. Vez, there's blue smoke. Drink somewhere else. Oh, and it looks like there's some ice skating up ahead. All right, connection's starting to come back. Sorry about the buffer. Something about this particular spot, it does happen. Coming up on our left, Pump House Park, which is a fun, tiny little park here, and it's named Pump House Park because they actually pump in the water here, and it's used to cool some of the World Trade facilities. They actually take in this water and it is part of the infrastructure of some of the buildings around here. Gosh, and all of you are making me so hungry now. Yeah, surfboard. I think a lot of folks, you know, they might go to the memorial nearby, but I tend to think that the waterfront, you know, it's not as heavily visited as you would imagine, and as you guys can, worth it. All right, connection looks a lot stronger to me, so again, sorry about the buffer. Like I said, I might try to take some of this. Ooh, look at this. That's cool. What was it? What was it? Yeah, the colors, I mean, as it goes farther down, so obviously there's a huge amount of clouds that it's behind, but up above it, all the colors popping out. Really beautiful. I may try to yeah, and walks in camera, you can, this is the Manhattan waterfront. And on the west side, you can go from the top of Manhattan all the way south. So if you've really got the time and the energy, it's about a 13-mile walk. Ambrose was on earlier. I think, Ambrose, correct me if you're still here, did you do it by bike? Did you do the whole thing? Really beautiful, huh? And there's all sorts of little beautiful things over here. So if anybody saw that light pole that was painted blue, the sign was saying that it represents the height of potential flooding, which is why they're going to do all this resiliency work and raise this area. But it looks like it's still open right now. So I guess they haven't started yet. I'll have to do some more reading on when all that's going to happen, because it's supposedly means a lot of this will close. Rector Place to our left. S Fields. There is a change.org position called Stop the Chop, if you want to look into that. Join the campaign. And so to give you guys some perspective on the walk that we've done today, we started in the West 80s and have worked our way down, and I think we're going to end all the way at the tip of Manhattan at this rate. But the park this pathway, like I said, goes to the very top of Manhattan. So we started in the West 80s, and Manhattan goes to about 210th Street. If anybody knows Manny Explorers, he actually explains there's a little bit more of Manhattan on the other side, but the connected part, at least, goes to something like 210th Street-ish. It's Inwood Hill Park up there. And so you can go all the way from 210 all the way down here, and we only started at like 85th Street. There. Typing in New York-ese. Impressive. Lots of beautiful parkway around here. And there are some restaurants, coffee shops. This is residential down here, Battery Park City, so people live down here in these big apartment buildings. Probably have spectacular views. But like I said, there's going to be all this construction work to help raise the area to prevent flooding. Yeah, Ambrose. So officially, I guess the waterfront, you're right, you know, this path, I think, you're right, does connect at Dykeman, but you can continue beyond it on the Inwood Hill Park trails. But yeah, I think you're correct. Did you, sorry if I missed it, but did you bike the entire thing? Or just part? Because I know you can bike the whole thing. I mean, I know it's all connected. I just don't remember what you said. So somebody asked me to find, oh, there's another one of those blue poles. So again, the blue marker represents how high the water could go in a flooding situation. Somebody asked me to film something down here. I'm trying to remember what they asked for. What did they say? 13 miles along Henry Hudson Greenway on bike. Hey, there it is. Congrats. I've done the length of the island in video, but the last time I did it, my camera overheated halfway through, so it's in 2 parts. But I did it all in one go. I just had to sit for an hour waiting for the camera to cool off. Maybe I'll try that one day on a cold day with the GoPro and see if it can do it. I think I have a SD card that's big enough now. So beautiful, isn't it? Coming up to the Museum of Jewish Heritage, which is a beautiful museum, but as one might imagine, pretty sad. Okay, so starting to see some barriers. I guess we have to go around this somehow. Whoops. All right, well, we have to backtrack a moment. I apologize, folks. This is our first barrier. Okay, so we'll have to go around the other side of the museum. Bear with me. Surfboard, yes. Wow. Okay. Well, we've now learned something about the construction taking place down here. So surfboard. The funny story is, this was during COVID, and I had a personal goal of walking every street in Manhattan, and actually filmed every street. And it coincided with summer, deep summer. Went from March to June, so those last ones in June were really tough. And the funny story is, at the very end, I started to carry my camera in a lunchbox filled with ice. It's just so I could finish the thing. The goal is to finish in 100 days, which I did exactly 100 days. It was something like 2 million steps. But I both felt and looked insane carrying a camera in ice just so that it would not overheat as frequently. All right, we've made it down. This is the Battery, so this is the southern tip of Manhattan. And what we're gonna do is try to find our way in so that we can get back to the water, hopefully up ahead. I have to tell you guys, it's hysterical. I'm like so hungry. It felt, I mean, probably this was like an 8-mile walk at this point, so I'm hungry from that, obviously. But with the sun going down at 4:30, it doesn't feel like 4:30. It feels like so much later. Statue of Liberty. All right, hold on. We're just going to try to find a way in so that we can get closer to that. Yeah, surfboard, it was super fun. I tried to do some research. I think something like around 10 people that I could find have done it. And then along the way, I met a young woman who was doing it, who was either the first or the second woman to do it that I could find. I mean, obviously, it's hard to do research on this stuff because there's probably people who've done it who, you know, prior to the internet weren't documented. So I could be wrong, but it was super fun. Okay, so oh, here we go. Yeah. Let's go to the end here. So we're in the Battery. This is, if I remember correctly, this is Pier A. Hey, Brandon, good to see you. Walks and Camera says, is this part of the flood defense work? It must be. I think it must be. I think it must be. All right, guys, check this out. Oh, God. It's like it got even better. This is a memorial, by the way. So you have to our left the Staten Island Ferry coming in. Is this? Somebody can correct me on that. Look for it. Ambrose says the bus replaced the Iru stringed instrument was here earlier. Oh, I've seen that guy before. He's really good. Stylish Bunny is here. So good to see you. We've been chasing the sunset today, Stylish Bunny. And you are just in time for some pretty beautiful views. We've got the Statue of Liberty, Staten Island in the distance, Governor's Island. And the reason we came down a little further was to watch the sun continue to come down and then hopefully watch the building lights come on.
Oh my god. It's Amber.
All right, I think I've hit the point where I actually need to have some water, so let me put the camera down over here with a nice view, and then let me have some water. Apologies in advance if when I move the mic, it's probably gonna make some noise. I don't know, folks. This isn't too bad to me. What do you guys think? So this is the southern tip of Manhattan. If you've never been, Fields, I'm with you. So this is the Battery, part of the early defenses of New York City, here in the New York Harbor. Lower Manhattan in front of us, the financial district. This is where he would pick up the boat to head over to the Statue of Liberty. You will see around here lots of people trying to sell you tickets. But I would go right in here and buy official tickets and not be taken advantage of, so just be careful. I was correct, so that was the American Merchant Mariners Memorial. Sorry, American Merchant Mariners Memorial. And then check out this view. So we're just going to wander around here, and if anybody can do me a favor, I think what had been asked of me was somewhere in here, and of course it could be blocked by security barricades, but somewhere in here is a plaque I think there's a tablet somewhere with the about the Statue of Liberty, like with the words. I think it's the Emma Lazarus poem. Does anybody have any idea where that plaque is? And I'll try to find it. But there's sort of plaques and memorials all over here, so I can't for the life of me remember where it is. But if anybody knows, let me know. And I'll try to. But like I said, there's so many. Oh, is that it? That's probably it. Of course, it's behind the fence. Probably can't. Can I get to it? Ah, dang. Is that it? Oh, that's it. Dang it. I figured that this is what was going to happen. Okay, so it looks like the closest we can get is, we can get a few feet close. Okay, hold on. Let me go around. Yeah, this is it. So let me go to the other side. We can at least get a few feet closer. How stupid is this? There's nothing. Everything is closed. Why would they keep it barricaded? Hold on. I really don't want to get arrested by the Parks Department. How embarrassing would that be? I could walk through this. That seems inappropriate. Do not enter. Okay, so we're just going to go around and get at least a few feet closer. We'll zoom as much as I can. I can't believe it that that it's barricaded off. That's like, ugh. How silly. How silly. As Fields, that would be a I have no doubt I could get bailed out. I think the concern would be it would that seems like a surefire way to lose my press badge. All right, this is officially, I think, as close as this is stupid. So the fence is there, so it's worse. This was stupid. I'm so annoyed by this. It's right there. But everything's closed. Think of all the views I would get. All right, okay, well, we have officially seen it. I'll have to come back and I'll have to ask somebody. I mean, obviously I could hop the fence and nobody's here, but it seems kind of silly to do that on footage. It's so stupid, though. I can't believe, like, of all the things to hide behind a fence, that's a little too on the nose, even for me. Even for me, that's a little too much. Yeah, I'll come back. So that's the tablet that reads the Emma Lazarus poem about the Statue of Liberty. My beautiful wife, Lisa. Maybe some of you will bail me out. I think there's a decent chance she might not. She'll take the night off. All right, let's go around the corner. Hey, at least we got close. We tried. I'll come back, and when I see an employee, I'll just, get their permission. How stupid, though. Like, I think that deserves a tiny cutout in the barricade, if you ask me. Live stream from the prison entrance. He hopped a 2-foot fence to take a picture of part of our nation's beloved history. Lock him up, throw away the key. We'll get it next time. Ambrose says the tablet's in the way of the statue weight line. Remarkably stupid. I would love to meet the person who thought that was a good idea. Read about Castle Clinton for a second. Sandstone fort built in 1811 is one of the 5 forts erected to defend New York Harbor. The fort originally stood on a small island that was linked to Manhattan by a 200-foot wooden causeway and drawbridge. In the 1850s, landfill extended Battery Park to this point. All right, Lisa and Esfield's gonna have girls' night out. Get a babysitter for the kiddo. I mean, to be fair, I'll probably get a good night's sleep. So as I said, there's tons of monuments, memorials, statues here in Battery Park. This one is called The Immigrants. There's so much beautiful stuff down here. Let's go back towards the water. We'll see the Statue of Liberty. And then it does look like the city is starting to get a little darker, so hopefully we'll get a nice little after dark view of Lower Manhattan. Looks like some really beautiful lights over on Governor's Island. I wonder what's going on over there. That's another thing that's been on my to-do list. I've been a couple times now and it's really beautiful, but the last time Lisa and I, and that says how long ago it was because it was before the kiddo, we went over there to stream and had the world's worst internet connection. But it's super fun. There's a ferry that takes you to Governor's Island. I think in the morning it's free, and then in the afternoon it's a very minimal charge. But I think if you go early enough, it's free. And then Governor's Island itself is really fun. Lisa says Governor's Island is a destination now. It absolutely is. Look at all this stuff. What is going on over here? I guess this must be part of the construction and everything. All right, let's say goodnight to the last time. Isn't that kind of cool? Little, with all of the clouds, it's like half daytime, half nighttime. How cool is that? Let's see, we have 12% battery. Do you think we can get to, we have 12% battery. I think we can get to it. Let's go see if the New York Stock Exchange Christmas tree is still there. Because we'll be able to get the cool Lower Manhattan shots that I'm looking forward to. Let me go see if the the New York Stock Exchange tree is still up. That's where we'll say goodbye, and along the way we'll get some nice shots of Lower Manhattan. ACL, good to see you. Austin City Limits. Ooh, ER Trauma said my best friend got married on Governor's Island before it was open to the public. It was awesome. Ooh, I bet that was amazing. This is a Ferris wheel, by the way. Or not a Ferris wheel, she's merry-go-round. And check out this shot of the Freedom Tower. As the lights start to come on, as the as the radio tower starts to light up. Yeah, so I understand for a long time Governor's Island was owned and maybe ER can correct me if I'm mistaken, but I think it was owned by the federal government. It was a military installation. Eventually, it was given to, I think, New York State, and then I think eventually the state gave it to the city. And ever since, they've been sort of trying to figure out what to do with it. It is more of a destination now, and there's plenty to do. Somewhere between environmentalism stuff and some light tourism. And there's discussion of doing more of that stuff. And I don't want to get into it because it's only going to make me upset, but part of the discussion involved building a parking garage and allowing cars on the island, which are currently not allowed. But like I said, if I start to talk about that, it will only make me angry. So I will not. Interesting. Ambrose is mentioning the Coast Guard. I think there are some, it's like World War II buildings. I mean, the architecture there is really cool. It's worth checking out. I'll try to do a recorded walk one day because, like I said, that at least the one time I tried to stream there, it was a really big fail. So I might try to do a recorded walk one day. Okay, Ambrose's guess is that it's gone, but let's go take a quick look. I mean, it's fun to see the stock exchange anyways, and we'll get the, I think we'll be okay either way, whether it's there or not. Nobody's coming in any direction. So let's go take a quick look. And that's where we'll call it a night. ER says husband worked for the Board of Elections. Not sure if it was federal city. So it was probably the case that, you know, if you had government connections, you could make something happen. That's pretty interesting. So I was talking about my Walk Every Street in Manhattan project, and I was looking at the videos, and it looks like in March, it was, I think, the first walk I did was March, I think 11, 2021 for that project. It was like it was one of my first YouTube videos, period, but I think it was like March 11. So I'm thinking of maybe recreating that walk. And so it was all of Broadway from Marble Hill to the Battery. So I'm thinking of redoing that at some point. So stay tuned for that. I know you guys have always wanted another 4.5, 5-hour video. But I've been meaning, that's my all-time favorite walk because you see everything. A little bit of everything. So stay tuned. I think we might have an anniversary video of that at some point. We're on Broadway at the corner here. That is number 1 Broadway. Behind us is the old Custom House, now the Museum of the American Indian. And this is Bowling Green, beautiful park.
Go up there, get my coffee so that
And I'm sure many of you know, on the opposite side of Bowling Green is the famous Charging Bull statue. ER says do it in the opposite direction. Hey, that's actually not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. I will consider that. That's a smart. Walks the camera, says, give my regards. Rolo's here. Hey, always good to see you. Let's go say hello to Charging Bull. My question for people is always, do you prefer the front or the back? So the streets have been, a little emptier because after the holidays, a lot of the tourists have gone home. But it turns out this is where they all come. The rear end of the charging bull. Always cracks me up. All right, we have to cross the street without getting hit by a car. Let me give you a shot of the front, and then we'll move along. It turns out in our channel, it sounds like there's a lot of fans of the rear. Oh, you guys crack me up. You guys crack me up. Up ahead, one of my favorite buildings in all of New York City, the Woolworth building, one of the first skyscrapers. And if I had a cool 100 million lying around, go on the internet, look up the penthouse at the Woolworth building. You could really do worse than that.
Those are the electric ones. Oh, these are electric. I don't have to pedal.
Esfield says, you know what Dutch says, gotta grab the bull by the horns, that's what's lucky. Sounds like our audience prefers to rub something else for good luck. Oh, you guys crack me up. Suke, old enough to remember Woolworths as a store. I mean, it's funny now. Not so funny, right? You could say the same thing about gimbals, and now you can say the same thing about Lord & Taylor. Funny, not funny. All right, here we are at Exchange Place. Up ahead to our left, say goodbye to the Trinity Church, but we'll get another view of it. Let's head down to Exchange Place. Oh, is this new, the Whole Foods Market? I don't think I knew about that. Has that always been here, or is this coming? There's another vote there. Not touching the bowl at all. So when I did my walk every street in Manhattan, at the time, this was one of the streets you couldn't walk. This is called News Street. And for obvious reasons around these parts, there's a tremendous amount of security. And so there were a handful of streets where I would mark a reason why I couldn't walk it. Usually it was construction, but occasionally there were security reasons. So near some of the power plants, like Con Ed facilities, for example. And then there were a handful that I just chose not to, like hospitals. There's just certain things. All right, here we are. Aw, boo. Ambrose was correct. No tree. Boo. Where's the spirit? All right. Well, we'll end not at Charging Bull, but the very brave, the very powerful, fearless girl. Let's go say hello to Fearless Girl. And as we do so, I want to say thanks to everybody for being with us, hanging on out. We've probably hit the 10-mile mark at some point, certainly the 9-mile mark. Loved hanging on out with everybody. Thank you for indulging. Let's go give her a little pat on the head. Thank you for everybody indulging me. I must head back to be with my wife and my kiddo. For once this week, we will eat dinner at a semi-normal time. Loved hanging out, loved seeing the sunset, loved walking the waterfront. If you're new here, consider leaving a like, even subscribing. We do walks all over New York City, and more we've been doing live streams, hit the notification bell because I never know when I'll go live. It's highly dependent these days on how things are going at the home. But we loved hanging on out. We had a blast. And we'll see everybody again real soon. Lizzie, Stylish Bunny, Walks in Camera, ER Trauma, Ambrose, Lisa begging me to use hand sanitizer, please, Lee, S Fields. And thank you to S Fields again, especially for the tremendous moderation work. We appreciate you, and the offer stands that S Fields gets to pick any walk in this fair city. Karina Thompson, Stylish Bunny, Lizzie, Surfboard, Walks in Camera. Loved hanging on out, everybody. Sue K, Joseph. We'll see you all again real soon. Have a good night. Bye.